Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bet the Edge. Thanks for watching on our NBC Sports YouTube channel. It's Thursday. It's the Well Capper. It's V Money, and we're going to be in our bag today. It's NFL Championship Sunday coming up. We're going to talk novelty markets, highest and lowest scoring team, little passing, rushing, receiver props, break it down the games, of course. A little NBA Thursday to add to your schedule. Drew, how's the week going? How's your day going?
Oh, it's going great, man. Fired up for the games this weekend. So many fun ways to talk about it, and what we've got laid out today, I think, is going to be a unique and interesting way for people to get involved in the betting this week. Because we're down to two games, which means more markets in those games, more exotics, tougher stuff for the bookmakers to price correctly. So the bigger menu, I think, leans into us as the bettors.
Yeah, certainly. I'm excited. I personally didn't do that great with the highest scoring low teams last week. If the Bucks would have scored 13 more points, Drew, we would have won. If they would have scored 13 less, we would have won. Right in the middle, like we expected, right? But no, two games. We got the Ravens 3.5 favorites, Niners 7-point favorites. So we'll talk about the highest and lowest scoring teams first. Niners are the favorite to be the highest scoring team here at -105. The only team plus 100 or better. The Ravens sit in second, plus 310. Lions plus 500, and Chiefs right behind, plus 550. So last week, Drew, you liked the Bills as the lowest scoring team. They had about 21. Chiefs had a little bit more than that, right? But you thinking about running it back on Chiefs' lowest scoring team, or maybe do they
Oh,
win highest scoring team?
I like the price on highest scoring team. Chiefs is plus 550. So this is kind of tough because you have to divorce a little bit your opinion of the totals for these games from the prices of these markets, right? And we got to look specifically at each team and figure out, is this a team with a wide distribution of outcome or a narrow distribution of outcome? If it's a wide distribution and if it's a big price in these markets, then I'm into it. If it's a narrow distribution and if it's a low price, which is what the Niners are for the highest scoring team, I am out. I think the Niners relatively high floor in terms of scoring output in this game in the 24 to 27 range. I think the Niners relatively low ceiling in terms of scoring here. I have them in the 30 to 33 point range for the high end of their distribution. So realistically, the body of the Niners landing around 30 is my expectation. The matchup advantages, which we've chronicled on this pod and will, I'm sure, touch again on tomorrow's pod, are kind of too many to count against the Lions defense. But so the question is, can the Ravens, Lions, or Chiefs pass 30? The Lions, for my money at least, I don't see it happening. 5-1, not a good enough price to go nuts here. But the Ravens and the Chiefs are interesting because there is definitely a game state here where these two teams are playing score and answer, and team with the ball last wins. So I absolutely believe in that. And I think that total at 44.5 is a little bit too low. And I think it's tougher for me to see a low end that's really kind of noteworthy for the Ravens, just the way that they're playing defense and the injury for the Chiefs defenders. Obviously, the way that Ravens are playing offense, again, the matchup against the Chiefs defense, but the Chiefs is the one that really pops for me, plus 550. This is a Chiefs team that, number one, is like playing their best offensive football right now. They are calling, an outstanding game, and they're up against a Ravens defense that I think is a little bit overrated. Ravens defense, for what it's worth, has done a decent job of generating pressure, and they do have kind of the most outstanding linebacking group in this quad of teams that are remaining. However, if you can attack the Ravens down the sidelines, if you can get your mobile quarterback on the edge, I think that sets up well for the Chiefs to hit some explosive plays and to sustain some drives here. So I give the Chiefs a puncher's chance to win this game. And if this is a true high-scoring shootout, if this game goes to overtime, all of a sudden we're talking about Chiefs at plus 550 being massively live. And it's kind of wild that we're sitting here and we've gotten this far into the highest scoring team and haven't mentioned that the Chiefs happen to have Pat Mahomes, and they are the biggest price on the board. I think that is probably incorrect. And so that's the only way I can really look in either of these two markets. Lowest scoring team, it's probably going to be the Lions, but 2-1 doesn't get me out of bed. So I'm gonna go ahead and zero in solely on Chiefs highest.
I don't hate that. I had a feeling you were going to be going there today. I don't hate that because I think the over 44.5 is the correct angle in the Chiefs-Ravens game, and I think the under is probably the play in the Lions-Niners game. I think Deebo Samuel, whether his status, he's been 50-50 trying to practice. If he plays, certainly helps the Niners offense because they were far less dynamic in that first half without him, for they started to catch their stride there in the second. So I don't get excited about the Niners price of minus 105 as the highest scoring team. Did say a few weeks ago with you on this podcast, the Chiefs price of plus 400 was the best to win the AFC, best value
Sure.
wise. So we are coming into that right now. So it's hard for me to disagree with you, but I think solely splitting, a unit or a half a unit for me on the Ravens and Chiefs to be the highest scoring team is the way I would play this because, like I said, I think you have Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and I think with their mobility, this game is going to be one to remember, Drew. The
Yep.
best game. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the way that I would approach it.
I love it. And I could definitely see a world where the Chiefs get to 31, 34 points, but lose by a field goal at the end. And you're just pulling your hair out like, had it all along, but Ravens just nipped me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Lowest scoring team, I guess we don't have too much. I mean, Ravens at 8 or Niners at 8-1, excuse me, isn't, it's a long shot. I would love to see the Lions in the Super Bowl, Drew. Like,
Sure.
As we get closer, I'm pulling for the Lions here, but I just don't think that's what will happen.
I guess 8-1 is a big price. I didn't really think hard about this, but is there a world
if the
where
Lions get the upset, then yeah.
So in order for that to happen, what you need is a high scoring shootout for Chiefs Ravens combined with a Lions upset. Lions on the money line right now are plus 289, and the alt overs in like the 51 range for the Chiefs Ravens are going to be in the plus 250 range. So you're getting a better price taking Niners lowest score at 8-1 than you would be parlaying those two outcomes. That's not crazy to me. Niners 8-1 lowest scoring team. I've bet the Niners this week too. I laid 7. I laid it confidently, and it's gone. It's getting bet in their direction. So, it's tough to say if this is just dead money in the pool or not. But 8-1 is probably a wrong price.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Lions have been a storybook team all season long, and I love what they've done. I just think this game is going to be ultra competitive. I'm definitely leaning the Lions on the spread in this game. And if they did pull the upset, then I think the Niners probably are your lowest scoring team. I think the Chiefs and Ravens will both get to 20 points, Drew. And I think in the fourth quarter, you're going score for score. And then, we'll get to that game. But I trust one guy to go the length of the field more than the other. But sure. I didn't bet that guy. That's all I'll say. Let's talk about the passing, receiving, and rushing leaders on Championship Sunday. We'll start with passing because Brock Purdy leads at plus 170, and I disagree. I think the play here is Jared Goff at plus 225. I'm on his over passing yards again, Drew. We're going for 3-0 in the playoffs on Jared Goff's passing yards. But your boy Mahomes sitting there at plus 250, and Lamar Jackson, who I came on here and said I like him to lead the postseason in passing. That's not going to happen. So
no respect for Lamar, man. Wow. 7-1. Jeez.
I mean, I like him throwing for 2 touchdowns more than 300 yards.
Yeah. That. So the problem with either Mahomes or Jackson, and this is kind of sound contrary to what we were just saying, where, I think that's going to be a higher scoring game than the market believes. Both of these teams are going to have a ton of success on the ground. And that could kind of impact how often each team decides to drop back. It could, and if this is score and answer, like we saw with Chiefs and Bills, like it kind of takes a little bit of the emphasis out of the chuck and comeback mode. But Baker Mayfield obviously got to 400 yards passing last weekend, largely because they were at a massive deficit through the second half of that game. That has been the recipe in both rounds so far. Dak Prescott against the Green Bay Packers, Baker Mayfield against the Lions. Like, yep, if you're down 2 touchdowns, you're in trouble. And the team most likely to be down 2 touchdowns, you nailed it, Jared Goff. And the Lions, if they problem is if they're in obvious must pass situations, are they successful throwing, or does this Lions team just get completely swallowed up by the pass rush of the Niners? And for that, I don't have a solid answer. But if you're making me take a shot on this one, I'm into Goff at 225. Sure.
Yeah, I think that's the clear play here. And looking at the receiving props, You got Brandon Ayuk leading the pack at plus 250
Yeah.
there for Brock Purdy. So you see those two favorites, and we'll get to Christian McCaffrey, but he's the favorite for the rushing leader too. So it's Niners across the board. And I kind of want to look outside that in this market as far as the rushing props go. Yeah, we'll circle CMC, but receiving, I kind of look at St. Brown here. He's had a very good postseason. Travis Kelce had a very nice game. Rashee Rice obviously has been dynamic, and even Deebo Samuel at a price of 10-1. If he has a great bounce back game, puts up 113, 120, he could lead these 4 games in receiving yards. So I feel like there's a lot of value at 10-1 and under.
Okay. Value in the short shots is kind of where I'm at in this one too. Ayuk obviously should be the favorite, and I think with a bullet, that obviously, some of that comes down to the fact that he matches up incredibly well. The wide receiver one for the Niners in this game is going to have a field day, like you saw Mike Evans against this receiving core. In general, the Lions defense relies a lot on the blitz. They leave their cornerbacks on an island, and I think the chemistry between Purdy and Ayuk could make Ayuk's number look pretty dang impressive. Kittle and CMC are going to be yak merchants in this game, so both guys capable of threatening Ayuk. And then the rest of the kind of top of the market here looks pretty reasonably priced to me. So I'm going to pass on this one. But is there anyone that stands out for you?
Yeah, there was no one that I had confidence with, but I think St. Brown and Travis Kelce are where I'm going in this one, man. They have both looked phenomenal. Of course, with Jared Goff being the passing leader and me taking his over passing yards, I expect St. Brown to be the beneficiary, but there have been so many other options in Detroit lately. Jameson Williams, Josh Reynolds. We saw Craig Reynolds get involved on the running back position. They already have 2 great running backs. So at 3-1, I was hoping that would be more like 5-1 for Amon St. Brown. But Travis Kelce at 7-1, I don't hate that. The guy's had 70 receiving yards in 11 straight playoff games. So we know that's the minimum of what he's probably going to be getting here. Heading over to the rushing leader, do we have to go in depth, Drew? Is it Christian McCaffrey at plus 150? You said there'd be success on the ground for Ravens and Chiefs, and Pacheco's rushing attempts prop I saw was heavily juiced to the under.
Really?
Clyde Edwards-Helaire got a significant snap share in the previous game, but he was more passing downs for them. And then also for the Ravens, which we'll talk about in a moment, but Justice Hill had a snap share increase, and he played more than Gus Edwards in the previous week. So that's not nearly noted here in this rushing market, in my opinion, but that's something that I want to note.
I dig it. The Gus Edwards Justice Hill split was largely based on an injury Edwards picked up in the game. Supposedly he's fine, but if there is still a pretty healthy split, I will not be surprised. I think Lamar Jackson's price is poison at plus 450, even though he is scrambling at a higher rate. Pat Mahomes 40-1 interests you? That's a crazy price for a player who we know does have wheels, does have an inclination to run more in a playoff game. It's going to have to be, things are going to have to break correctly. Like something weird's going to have to happen to get that one home. But I do think there's a realistic chance that there's a game state here where the Chiefs are trying to put away a lead. And in those game states, Mahomes running on 3rd down, his scramble clip is so high. Like he takes the ball into his own hands to convert those 3rd downs on the perimeter. And you can do that against the Ravens. So I would expect that, Mahomes is probably the value shot here at 40-1. And just because there are 4 teams and these are expected to be pretty competitive games, there might not be someone that really gets leaned on in order in terms of like putting away a lead. So Montgomery's price is ridiculous at 9-1. Gibbs obviously has more juice and should probably get a higher carry share here, but with the chances that the Lions are going to have to go away from the run entirely to make up a deficit, I think you have to put a line through the Lions. And then, that does leave us with the chalk in McCaffrey and Pacheco, or the insane in Mahomes. And I guess if you're giving me plus 150, plus 350 and saying that those are relatively close, but a little value, but Mahomes is 40-1, I'll take the insane shot on Mahomes. It's probably a loser, but 40-1 would be fun.
Yeah, it will be fun, certainly. And I think, you'll have the 2 most mobile quarterbacks left in the postseason playing each other there. Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes gave us a good one on the ground. Certainly Lamar Jackson and Pat Mahomes can. And I agree with you, crossing the line on the Lions. Their rushing props are 45.5 and 47.5. That doesn't sound like someone that's going to be the rushing leader on Sunday. And I know I just said that about those two, but Justice Hill and Gus Edwards are in similar situations at 40 and 42.5, which we'll talk about. Makes me like Justice Hill as my long shot in case Gus Edwards is a little more banged up and Hill breaks one of 40 plus. We're looking good, but solely, like I said, I don't have to talk much, ladies and gentlemen. CMC, ladies and gentlemen, stand up. That man should have got the ball much, much more, Drew. In their last
I agree.
game, I could not believe how often Brock Purdy was throwing on first down. Sometimes and throwing incompletions at that. So hopefully that cleans up because I want to see more CMC carries on Sunday, and we'll get to that one. But let's start with the Chiefs at Ravens. Talking about the games and the props here. I'm sure you and Jay have covered these games in great detail. So of course I wanted to bring my props. Went 4-1 last week, Drew.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, not nice because 5-0 is what we needed, what we wanted. I had 3 different
Thanks for nothing, man.
parlays. Yeah, Aaron Jones, like, come on, bro. You got to rip a 50-yarder just to watch your field goal kicker miss and you guys lose? Like, what's the point? Just let me win. Anyways, talk about the Chiefs and Ravens. It's my bounce back week. I want to talk about that split between Gus Edwards and Justice Hill. Get your opinion on it because Hill opened up 32.5 at BetMGM. Compared to 40.5 at some other books. So there's a clear line on Hill's overs here. His receiving prop isn't a bad option to me either because we know he's a little more receiving back. So do you have an opinion on that before we get to Lamar Jackson, which is definitely my bet?
Yeah, I mean, are you basically saying under Edwards over Hill? Because I'm
thinking that's the exact way. And I'll note too, the one play that's on the move and BetMGM took this down. But DraftKings and FanDuel had Justice Hill's longest reception at 8.5.
Cool.
Super juiced to the over. And I'm thinking that screen games are going to be very, very important in this Chiefs and Ravens game.
Yeah, sure. I think the Ravens kind of keeping it simple and in general being successful on the ground is a fair expectation. There could be some explosive plays from them on the ground, especially if the spine of the defense of the Chiefs is not healthy. So yeah, the injury risk to Gus Edwards is real. Justice Hill could be the featured back here. 32.5 is pretty low against a team like the Chiefs who do give it up on the ground. So I'm 100% there with you. The Chiefs want the Ravens to lean into the run here and take the ball out of Lamar Jackson's hands. So those two do stand out. Both Edwards under 39.5 and Hill over 32.5 for this week.
Yeah, and I'm expecting by Sunday that Hill number is going to be higher than Edwards and probably creeping around 40. So definitely value there as we talk about it. But Lamar Jackson last week cashed the over 1.5 passing touchdowns at plus money for us. They disrespect us again, Drew. Now they're giving us plus 140, an even bigger number. Pat Mahomes is minus 110, as you see, to throw that, which I'm sure you like. But I like Lamar again. I think he's going to once again show off. Had 4 total touchdowns last week with 2 on the ground. Don't think he'll quite do that again on the ground. But, man, I can't believe they continue to disrespect my guy. Are you on that train? You going under or over?
No, over for sure. People know Mark Andrews is back, right? People know that the red zone success. Red zone targets for Likely and Andrews. God knows what Monken's got cooked up for 2 tight end sets that people have never seen before, really. So him finding success through the air when they're in the red zone is at absolute, kind of baseline expectation. I would say 1.5 at plus 140 is definitely an edge for me. I would say my mean is close. My mean and median passing touchdowns are right around 2 for this one. So plus 140 is a solid bet.
Yeah, I'm excited Mark Andrews comes back for this one too. As you mentioned, the 2 tight end sets, which sets up well for the Ravens in the ground game or the play action attack, which I think will be utilized in the red zone a lot against the Chiefs. So Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I locked that in. I was excited for that one. And I'm thinking there's some value on the Hill and Edwards dilemma here we have in Baltimore. So we'll go to Lions and Niners real quick because 2 guys that cashed for us last week, Drew, having a hard time coming back. I joked about Jared Goff being 2-0 already to the passing over in the playoffs. They dropped his line now. Closed at 279.5. It's down to 257.5.
Really?
That negative game state. What are we doing here? Like clearly over.
I don't understand this. Why in the world would the adjustment be down? That's nonsense. This is a pretty clean look now at the over at 257.5. Not exactly sure what anyone looks at the passing defense for the 49ers and, kind of loses their confidence. There's going to be success through the air for the Lions. It doesn't even have to be in a negative game state, but if the most likely game outcome does manifest where the Lions are playing catch up, where they're down a touchdown in the fourth quarter here, like, yeah, he could get 257 in a half of football. Would it shock me? So that's a pretty clean look at the over, and I'm kind of blown away that was adjusted down. He didn't get hurt, and the weather's going to be fine. I cannot imagine why that number is low.
Yeah, and I mean, he only had, I want to say, 99 passing yards in the first half of the last game. Then he exploded and hit the over in the second half.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the similar situation here for sure. I mean, it takes some time to adjust. And the Niners linebacking core is phenomenal. No doubt about that. And they play really well within the hashes too. But all the explosive players for the Lions, they'll get outside. And last one, would you be more confident in Goff's over or Christian McCaffrey's over 88.5 rushing yards? They gave us the same exact line as last week. I mean,
well, I would be more confident.
More.
Yeah, I'd be more confident in Goff only because the Lions' rushing defense is a little better than they're getting credit for. They're not good, but they're definitely not pushovers. And honestly, like my guess is that if you want to do some sincere damage, if you want to have some explosive plays against this Lions defense, you really want to put their you want to put their second level on the spot to make tackles. The interior does a decent job at run fit. But there are definitely weaknesses in that linebacking core that I'm sure Kyle Shanahan is watching the tape and circling guys in red. And so McCaffrey clearing his rushing plus receiving, I think is likely. But his rushing could be biased a little bit to the low side just because I don't know that you're dying to get him involved on the ground in a ground and pound kind of a game. I think you'd rather get him on the perimeter and get him on the second level and get some yak opportunities. So, I think ultimately carries I would lean over because of game state. Yards I would lean under because of the outstanding quality of the Lions' run defense.
I like that angle too because I felt more confident in the rushing attempts over, which didn't cash last week. Which I thought was funny because it was over 18.5 at plus 105 to the over. McCaffrey finished just under that. Now they raised it to 19.5 minus 130 to the over. So it doesn't sound like CMC is going to have a very healthy workload in this one. I would expect to because we both mentioned he should have got the ball more. They targeted him a ton, but on the ground he should have got the ball more. So I like his rushing attempts over, but Goff will be my best play in there. Before we move to the NBA real quick. So it sounds like you're on the Chiefs plus the 3.5, right?
Well, we're riding together on AFC.
Okay, so that's what you're looking for right now. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be on. I think I'm gonna be on Ravens first half minus 2.5.
Okay.
And be looking to live bet the Chiefs if I can get someone.
Ooh, I dig that.
5, 6, 7.
Yeah, I like the Chiefs a lot better in a game state that's neutral or slightly negative at halftime. So I'm with you. Like I think that you want the Chiefs to have to show you something in the second half of this game. I don't think you want to ask them to run away and hide against the Ravens on the road. That's going to be too tough.
Yeah, exactly. And the Ravens, they can take their long possessions and drives in the second half, but Pat Mahomes, as I briefly mentioned earlier, can take a team down the field in a minute, 80, 90 yards. With Lamar Jackson, I just don't have quite that confidence in the fourth quarter. If you need to go get a touchdown, it's down 70, 80 yards. But I've seen him get the field goal, though, with Justin Tucker, which, that's not a debate. But, I think Ravens first half minus 2.5 will be my game play, along with Lions plus 7. Those are the two directions I'm leaning for the Sunday game plays. But Goff over, Jackson over. Let's go, Drew. On the other side of this promo, we're doing the NBA, baby. So stay tuned. Just as a heads up, Ohio State is looking to keep pace with the frontrunners in the Big Ten women's basketball standards, and they'll have a chance to do so on Thursday when they face Illinois. Watch the Buckeyes and the Fighting Illini showdown at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on Peacock. Now, the Thursday NBA schedule, Drew, is packed and loaded. It's got some good games. I'm circling one player in particular.
Okay.
Sixers versus Pacers. Who do you think it is?
Probably Joel Embiid, right?
No, Tyrese Maxey, man. Too easy.
Oh, okay.
Come on. We got to take Robin once in a while.
Okay. Okay. Well, hey, look, man. Anything that speaks success into the year of the Sixers for this game, I'm with you because I'm looking at the market right now, and Philly's only laying 5 on the road here, and like it's been to say that it has been comfortable fading the Pacers the last couple of games would be an incorrect statement. It has been a sweat. The last 2 times I faded the Pacers, including last night with the Nuggets, it came down to wild end of game close calls. Hopefully, this is not one of these opportunities, but I thought the Nuggets were value at -4.5 last night on the road against the Pacers. I think the Sixers are value at -5 on the road against the Pacers. And like really just in general, like there's some things that the Pacers are doing well that you want to applaud them, but their defense is just no match for this particular type of attack that the Sixers are running right now. So I think the Sixers are going to 120, 122 points in this one and should be able to cover the 5-point spread.
Yeah, interesting though you said what about the spread because they opened at 4.5, the Nuggets at the Pacers, closed
Yeah.
around 5.5 or 6. So a
Yeah.
lot of people
Middle
got a
shot.
loser.
Yeah.
Yeah, middle shot. A lot of people got losers backing the Nuggets there, and there was no Tyrese Halliburton, which there won't be in this matchup either. But yeah, Maxey, I like his over on points. I mean, he's at 24, 31, 50, and 27 in his last 4 against the Pacers. And obviously, Joel Embiid with that type of tempo, you don't want him playing 38 minutes against Indiana up and down the court after what he just did. So more Tyrese Maxey usage. I would be looking at Embiid's assists, Drew, rather than his points prop. But he'll
Ooh,
probably
that's
get you
cool.
30. He'll probably
That's
get you
fun.
30 though. But yeah, what do you like in the association?
Yep. So laying it with the Sixers, we would expect that to keep going past 5. But by the time this gets to your earballs tomorrow, it may be higher than 5. I would play it up to 5.5. I wouldn't lay 6. The other big game, a rematch of the last 2 years Eastern Conference Finals between the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. Fun one. Really, really fun matchup. Expecting to see Scary Terry available for Heat culture in this one. Not going to matter, though. I think the Celtics are clearly the better team here. Celtics with a little bit of a rest advantage, and just in general, the way these teams are matching up as like if you think back to the roster moves that the Celtics made last year in the offseason, felt like a lot of it was specifically to have more answers for the way that the Heat were defending them in that Eastern Conference Finals. I don't have any inside information about surprise, absences for some of the Boston players because they have been what's the right word? They've had kid gloves on Porzingis. They've been a little bit cautious about kind of putting their full squad out there, but I think the entire Celtics roster will be available for this one, and this is going to be treated more like a playoff, playoff tune-up sort of game than it's just a regular season game. So this one's big. I think the Celtics are fun side here, and I think I'm into this 6.
Yeah, I can't talk you off of that. I think Miami also with the trade right now, trying to get correlated, trying to get the chemistry as well. With Terry Rozier added, Kyle Lowry out of the building now, so it's going to be interesting to see if he does play, what that looks like. If he doesn't play, what do they look like in that game or two without him? So I would be definitely looking towards the Celtics in that game. The one thing I'll note that I'm looking at tonight and then into Thursday's schedule would be the Warriors. They're back in action
Ooh.
after hiatus, after the passing of their
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah.
They needed time off, and they have the Hawks tonight, back-to-back tomorrow at home against the Kings. The Kings love to play the Warriors.
Yes.
So I am definitely have my eyes on possibly fading the Warriors tomorrow. Should be, some type of ceremony, a lot of emotions running high for the Warriors tonight. I expect them to get the win. Maybe not a cover, but a win. Steph Curry, big night. And then Thursday, when you guys listen to this podcast, we'll be talking about potentially the Kings beating the Warriors. I think that might be a thing, Drew.
Interesting. There's a market up for that already. Kings are -2. I agree with you. I laid it with the Warriors against the Hawks. We talked about it on yesterday's pod, so hopefully you're riding with me if you heard it. If not, it's all good. But I dig that one. I dig that look a lot tomorrow. I gave you 2 chalky sides. You want a weird one?
Give me a dog or a total or something.
Let's get weird. The Brooklyn Nets beating the Minnesota Timberwolves, I think, is very, very live. Brooklyn right now looking at plus 4.5. I think on the money line, you're going to get some, decent value for them. Awful spot for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm sure you kind of caught wind of Chris Finch going off on his team after they blew that incredible first half performance from Karl Anthony Towns and then lost to the Charlotte Hornets. He was implying that it was like effort based. He was implying that there was like some, they were distracted or they kind of lost focus. Like, they're tired. Like, the Timberwolves are tired. They have been playing all their guys max minutes. They have had no kind of meaningful relief for any of their key players. And this is a huge rest advantage for the Nets on Thursday. So I don't know that a rah-rah Chris Finch is, yelling at his guys for, presumably not trying when they're gassed is going to spell, success. This could literally be like, hey man, we're beat. like what do you want us to do, man? We could see a weird one like 124-99 Nets with like a clean win or something like that. But Nets I think are probably my favorite look. If I could only have one bet tomorrow, we're narrow edge on the Sixers, narrow edge on the Celtics, but I think the Nets can win outright.
I love that look. I'm with you in a lot of ways. I've been watching the division markets, Drew, for the past 2 weeks because I've been trying to get some futures in the NBA. I just wrote about the Orlando Magic taking down the Miami Heat potentially in their division. Dallas Mavericks taking down the Pelicans, which might not make you happy in their division. But the one
that's cool.
You like it? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
We like it.
Yeah.
And then, but one that I missed all the money on last week, the Denver Nuggets were plus 200. All right. With the Thunder in second, the Timberwolves in first. Now it's a 3-way tie, or the Nuggets are the favorite in that division. And I'm feeling like the tires are falling off for the Timberwolves.
They are. You're not wrong. They're going to take a couple more losses. They'll right the ship in time for the playoffs, and they may be an interesting matchup. But them getting a 1 or 2 seed, I'm starting to think is pretty long odds.
That's out the window. Yeah, it's out the window. I'd be taking a ticket on the Thunder to do that before I take a ticket on the Timberwolves.
Yep.
And I never thought I would be saying either of those things to start the season off, but. It's January 2024, baby. Only the crazy things can happen. Drew, favorite looks of the day. Is it the Brooklyn Nets?
Yeah, we'll go Nets. Let's go Nets. You can get 4.5 right now if you're betting it on the side. I think that's the way to attack this. And if you want to sprinkle a little money line, I'll be with you.
Mikal Bridges, we need a big game from you, buddy. 30-plus points, bring us home that dub and cover. For me, Championship Sunday, Jared Goff over 257.5 passing yards.
Ooh, nice.
Definitely love that one. I got a unit on. I'm thinking about making it the best bet, 1.5 unit. But Aaron Jones was our best bet last week, Drew, which really irritates me. So I need a winner. But I do like Tyrese Maxey as well. All right, Drew. You want to give a shout out to anybody before we get out of here?
If you haven't been paying attention, if you want any other, NBA or Australian Open thoughts, like once we're past this championship weekend, we'll happy to kind of zero back on that stuff. But shout out the Clippers; they just keep winning. Shout out the Nuggets; like these teams are just awesome, and I think that's where we're headed in the Western Conference.
Can't wait for the Clippers to start losing, man. I'll be a happy camper.
They're playing so good, dude.
They are playing so good. I can't hate on them. They are playing so good. We'll keep riding that train, though. After NFL, we're going to have a lot of college basketball, NBA, tennis, and all that, Drew. So I'm looking forward to talking all that shop with you. My one shout out today goes to my mama. Happy birthday, mother.
Oh, nice.
Hope you're having a great day. And I hope everyone else is also having a great day. So enjoy your weekend. Hopefully, Drew and I make you some money as always. And don't forget to check out NBCsports.com for all you need. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Adam, producers. See you next time.